The NFL season officially started in the most bizarre way possible with the Spitgate. Jalen Carter on the Eagles got ejected from the game versus the Cowboys not even 5 seconds into it. Later it was found out that Dak Prescott was actually the one who spit first, which is now being called the Spitgate. A.J. Brown highlights consist of him reading a book on the bench as he had 0 targets until the final play of the game. CeeDee Lamb and Quentin Johnston must have decided to swap buys before the game, as CeeDee Lamb basically cost them the game with multiple big drops, and the Eagles ended up pushing to victory. The Chargers and Justin Herbert looked unstoppable, and like I said, Quentin Johnston and CeeDee switched bodies as Quinn scored 2 touchdowns this game. Travis Kelce heard Taylor Swift say she is looking forward to Xavier Worthy this season, so he decided to take him out first drive, and he'll be out for a few weeks now. Anyways, Mahomes did his little Mahomey thing, and Kelce scored a touchdown, but it just wasn't enough as Chargers took the victory. It is now NFL Sunday, and some things still haven't changed. Tua turned the ball over, definitely has CT from his past 2 seasons, and turned the ball over 3 times. Bengals look hard in week 1 per usual, and only had 25 passing yards second half, and somehow still won because the Browns will be the Browns and missed an easy field goal for the win. Jets are also going to jet as they blew a 2-possession lead late in the 4th and still lost from a 60-yard field goal. Russell Wilson needs to stop cooking, and the Giants need to start Jackson Dart. Wilson threw 17 for 37 and only scored 6 points. Meanwhile, the new Commanders looked good as Deebo Samuel scored 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving and 1 rushing. Terry McLaurin is getting back up to speed with the game since he held out training camp, so he didn't look too hot, but the rookie sensation Bill Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had 82 yards and a touchdown and solidified his running back 1 spot. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers looked like Prime Rodgers, throwing 4 touchdowns and getting the win versus the Jets, his former team. However, Justin Fields and the Jets did not look bad at all. Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns and Breece Hall ran for 145 yards while Garrett Wilson scored a touchdown and had 95 receiving yards. Honestly, this was kind of a sneaky game of the week, and it came down to the end on a game-winning 60-yard field goal by the Steelers. The Saints once again are trying to kill Chris Olave. He gets hurt every year, and week 1 was no different. Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison look like the duo we thought they would be, and Trey McBride looks just like himself last season by not scoring a touchdown, but putting up some impressive numbers. New quarterback for the Raiders, Geno Smith, looked good, throwing 362 yards. Jacoby Myers had 8 catches for 97 yards, and Brock Bowers looked good until he got hurt, which will most likely be out just for a few weeks. College football legend Ashton Jeanty scored a touchdown in his first game as well. And on the other side, the Patriots looked very rusty this first week. Drake May threw a pick, and Stephon Diggs is still recovering from his injury last season. Wide receiver Kayshon Boutte looked good, catching 6 balls for over 100 yards, and the craziest stat line ever happened, where Demario Douglas stat line reads 2 catches, -2 yards, and a touchdown. And in the end, the underdog Raiders won against the Patriots. Bryce Young ended up looking like his old Panther self, and that is not a compliment. He threw 2 interceptions and looked horrible. Rookie Ted McMillan looked good, but was about the only positive thing about the offense this game. For the Jaguars, Travis Etienne took over having 156 yards and literally got Tanks Bigsby traded the following day. Tua turned the ball over and the Dolphins absolutely suck and let Daniel Jones cook them, scoring 33 points. This just shows how trash Anthony Richardson must be if Daniel Jones is scoring 33 with this team. Also proves how pitiful the Dolphins defense is. Tyreek Hill is raging on the sidelines and just does not look good in Miami. Rookie tight end Tyler Warren looks to be the next Brock Bowers this season, and the Colts actually look good, for now. If you would have told me the Bengals would only have 25 passing yards in the second half, I would have easily thought the Browns won the game, but nope. Browns lost 17-16 as they missed an easy 30-yard field goal late in the 4th for the win. The Bengals O-line still looks lost, and I just don't understand why the Bengals suck so much week 1 every single year, but they luckily play the Browns and scraped out with a win. The Buccaneers versus the Falcons was a back-and-forth battle. Rookie Emeka Egbuka looks like a veteran wide receiver, scoring 2 touchdowns and the go-ahead touchdown in the 4th with a minute to go. Michael Penix put the team on his back and looked really good for the Falcons, but of course Younghoe Koo misses a game-tying field goal, which should be no surprise to anyone, especially Falcons fans. The Seahawks and 49ers might have been the sloppiest game of the day. George Kittle and Juwan Jennings both got hurt, which meant CMC and Ricky Pearsall absolutely cooked. Despite the injury news, CMC had 142 total yards, and Ricky Pearsall torched Seattle's defense with 108 yards. Seahawks' Tariq Woolen had arguably one of the worst games as a corner and allowed a 158.3 QBR rating, which is a perfect game for a QB, when thrown his way, and decided to hop on PlayStation after the game to better his skills on 2K instead. Meanwhile, Jake Moody still sucks for the 49ers and missed field goals. Honestly, the only good thing that happened for Seattle was Jackson Smith-Njigba having 9 receptions for 124 yards. But it just wasn't good enough. Also, Kenneth Walker is now cooked as Zach Charbonnet snatched the running back 1 spot from him. Broncos versus Titans might have been the best defensive battle I've seen in a while, as both offenses looked horrible. I feel bad for Cam Ward because he honestly didn't even do that bad for his first game versus possibly the best defense in the league. It also does not help that as wide receiver 1, Calvin Ridley had not 1, not 2, but 3 or 4 wide open drops this game. Quarterback Bo Nix and the Broncos offense also looked horrible, and if it wasn't for the defense, they probably would have lost by 30 points. There were 7 total turnovers between the two teams, but the Broncos came out on top. Now, if you put 5 high school offensive linemen on the Houston Texans, they may have done better than whatever I watched Sunday. CJ Stroud had 0 time to throw, and the Rams defensive line just cooked them. Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua looked like the dynamic duo that they are, while CJ Stroud and Nico Collins looked like it was their first game together. Even with all the poor play, the Texans had the ball in the final drive to take the lead, and they fumbled near the red zone to lose the game, which about summarized the entire game for the Texans. The Detroit Lions looked to bounce back after the pathetic divisional playoff game loss versus the Commanders last year, but instead they looked even more pathetic. Jared Goff and the Lions without Ben Johnson is just a mediocre team. In fact, Jared Goff has never won a game in the NFL without Ben Johnson or Sean McVay calling the plays. The Packers controlled the entire game from start to finish and dominated in a 27-13 win. Now, game of the week between Bills versus Ravens was electric between one-handed snags, touchdowns galore, and tipped touchdown passes with an insane comeback at the end by the Bills. To no one's surprise, the Ravens blow another game. They were up 40-25 with 4 minutes to go with the ball, and the Ravens had a 99.1% chance to win the game until Derrick Henry fumbled and Josh Allen worked his magic. The Bills caused a 3-and-out and scored to make it 40-32. Then, despite Derrick Henry's magnificent game, he fumbled the ball and the Bills capitalized to make it 40-38. The Bills defense forced another 3-and-out, and Josh Allen drove down the field to win off a game-winning field goal 41-40. Ravens fans are just absolutely in shambles, and Josh Allen is the real MVP. Now, the last game of week 1 between the Bears and Vikings ended just the way you would think. The Bears being the Bears and missing a field goal and losing the game. J.J. McCarthy looked absolutely horrible all game and even threw a pick 6. Then the Bears got the ball back, and the game looked to be over until the Bears missed a field goal and the Vikings had life. The Vikings drove down the field and scored, and Caleb Williams crapped his pants once again on the field, and the Vikings ended up scoring again to make it 20-17. It was now Caleb Williams' legacy drive, and he looked lost out there. They had to punt the ball away, and Vikings drove down the field again to score to make it 27-17 with 2 minutes to go. An absolute collapse by the Bears defense and quarterback Caleb Williams. The Bears would go on to lose 27-24 and lose in the most Bears way possible and to end week 1. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more NFL videos throughout this season. And I'll see you next time. Take it easy.